Park outside of San Francisco, California. I'm Tom Brookshire along with Johnny Morris. Johnny, they're about ready to kick off. The Bears have to kick off. But what about the San Francisco offense? Is it going to be tough?
I think they will be tough. Joe Montana has come into his own. Bill Walsh likes to throw the ball. I expect the 49ers to score because the Bears are a little bit banged up on defense. And conversely, on the other side, I figure the Bears to score some points because San Francisco hasn't been all that tough on defense. We might have a high-scoring game.
All right, San Francisco won the toss. Thomas, with his leg apparently healed. He was booting field goals and kickoffs as energetically as ever. Will kick off. Back deep for San Francisco is Ronnie Lott, the All-American #1 draft out of USC. It's Lott. Hit hard and drilled at about the 30-yard line. 1st and 10 now on the infield. This is real grass they put back into Candlestick Park. They used to have a carpet. And they're on the base. Now here's the offensive lineup now for the 49ers. Joe Montana, the Irish quarterback. Ricky Patton, who's bounced around, but he's the tailback. Earl Cooper, who caught 83 passes a year ago. Dwight Clark. And, of course, as we said, Solomon. Audie, Ayers, Quillen, Cross, and Fawnhorst, and Charlie Young, the veteran, is at tight end. Here's the first down call. Montana back on play action. They throw a lot. Going to the outside. It's complete, then dropped. Is that a fumble? It's called, and no good, as Terry Schmidt came up with the football. Intended for Clark, the young man out of Clemson. Here's the Bears defense, Johnny Morris. Will there be some changes today?
Well, Dan Hampton may move into Alan Page's spot at the defensive tackle spot because Alan Page has had the flu all week and is not at 100%. Otis Wilson, Lee Kuntz, and Gary Campbell at the linebacker spot. Campbell's playing with a sore knee. There's Schmidt, Henderson, Fencik, and Walter Scheid in the defensive backfield.
2nd down and 10. The ball on the 29. Montana, man in motion, coming by Solomon. Strong side left. Bears with a 4-man rush. Solomon quickly throws a juggler, and it's knocked away by the linebacker. Ricky Patton was the intended receiver, and number 59 got his hand up in there. Gary Campbell, who wasn't maybe supposed to play. Campbell has a strained knee, doesn't he?
Yes, he does, but he likes to play football, and he wanted to play in that. We are seeing a tempo already as the 49ers and Joe Montana came out throwing on the first 2 plays of the game. They feel they really didn't throw the ball enough against Detroit last week because they are a throwing offense. San Francisco threw 597 passes last year.
And they were number 3 in effectiveness in the National Football Conference. Here's Montana, his 3rd pass and the 3rd down from the 29. Charlie Young goes in motion outside the tight end. Good drop. A lot of time. Good-looking pass. Almost intercepted by Reuben Henderson, number 20. Pretty good-looking throw, but Reuben was in good shape.
He smelled that play coming all the way. Reuben Henderson, who has stepped in there as a rookie corner, has done a fantastic job for the Chicago Bears, who shut San Francisco down on this first series. They did not move 1 inch as they're going to be forced to punt with the barefoot man.
Jimmy Miller from Ole Miss in his 2nd year. He did not have a good punting game last week against Detroit, but he's standing on grass, and that must tickle your arch a little bit. There's Jeff Fisher back there for the Bears, the rookie. Pretty good hang time. Looks like the breeze is holding it up a little bit. Fair catch by Fisher at the 34-yard line, and the Bears get their first offensive shot. 3 passes and a punt by San Francisco. He'll be that Bear offensive team. Evans the quarterback, and as we said, against a 3 out of 4 rookie defensive backfield, he ought to play well today. Walter Payton, Suey, the Penn Stater, is in there as Harper now is somewhat injured.
He has a pulled hamstring. As you look at the Bears' offensive line, really no changes from last week.
Robin Earl, though, is at tight end, number 81. Bashnagle goes in motion. Handoff to Walter Payton. To the 37, Jack Reynolds, the former Los Angeles Ram, and I believe Board, the defensive end, helped on the tackle. The defensive lineup for San Francisco. Pillars, who's in for Stuckey, who's got a sprained ankle. Reese and Dwayne Board, they play a 34. Willie Harper Buns, Jack Reynolds, the former Ram, and Keena Turner out of Purdue. And here is the rookie-dominated backfield. Lott, Williamson, Hicks, and Eric Wright. Hicks is the only veteran in there.
And he's only a 2nd-year veteran.
Out of Michigan. 2nd down, and call it 7 yards to go. Suey dropped by number 58. That's Keena Turner for a loss back to the 35-yard line.
Keena Turner, who was a defensive end in college, he's from CVS High School, Chicago Vocational in Chicago, and he knifed through there and got that play before it even got started. Keena Turner, number 58 for San Francisco. So the Bears are now into a passing situation, 3rd and 9. And they started slow last week, as you know, Tom. They did not move the ball very well in the first half, and that's what really cost them the ball game.
All right, Ricky Watts comes out to the right. Williams is in the backfield with Payton. Got 3 wide receivers. Baschnagel to the top. Over and through Walter Payton's hands at the 40-yard line. Pretty well defended there by number 29. That's Eric Wright, the rookie out of Missouri. And no blood now for the Chicago Bears on their first offensive series.
Well, that pass wasn't the best. It was a little bit high, and Payton was pretty exposed there. You got to get that ball to Payton a little sooner so he can turn around and face the defender. That time he's up there, and boy, you can get yourself smashed up.
Parsons standing back on about the 20-yard line. The deep men are Lott and Mike Wilson back there. Parsons had a good punting day, a great punting day. He waits for the coverage and kicks it a good hanging punt. That's Dwight Hicks. Hicks takes it and gets to the 35-yard line and is inhaled by Alan Harris. 2 punts and no first downs after the first series. We'll be back in just a moment at Candlestick. What a day on the bay. About 64 degrees, a slight breeze blowing in the 49ers' face. That first punt by Miller was 37 yards and fluttered somewhat. Neil Armstrong and the Chicago Bears leading their first victory of 1981. Linville Elliott now is in the backfield, along with Earl Cooper. Elliott goes in motion. That's Montana, the quarterback, on the 35. Draw play. Cooper gets out over the 35 for a yard or so. Bruce Harrod made the tackle. This broadcast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the written consent of the San Francisco 49ers and the NFL is strictly prohibited. 2nd down and 8. On the 37. Man in motion. Linville Elliott. Turn-in pass by Montana. Dwight Clark takes it at the midfield stripe. Walterside makes the tackle. Clark is a very deceptive receiver.
And what a nice play, because Linville Elliott, the man in motion here, took the linebacker, Gary Kemble, out of the zone here. And as Hicks came right in, I should say Clark came right in, there were no linebackers, nobody in the way. It was like duck soup, down and turn in. A nice lane for Montana to throw the ball for the first down.
And Clark is not the deep receiver, but he catches a lot of them, like we said, 82 last year. Out of Clemson. Here it is now. 1st and 10 right on the 50-yard line. Man in motion. That's Elliott. Montana back to throw again. Rifles it to deep side. That's Solomon. Freddie Solomon with the ball dancing at the 32-yard line. Lee Coombs, the linebacker, trying to get in on the play, a 19-yard strike.
And did you notice how Montana stepped forward in the pocket? He has a great feel of the pocket. He's running out of the shotgun here, goes out on a partial rollout, and then comes forward as the pocket develops around him and fires the strike over to the sidelines to Solomon, who was wide open. 1st down, San Francisco. Let's take a look at Freddie Solomon. He caught 8 balls last week down the field. Fensick's got him short, takes the short man, and then he's got deep help, but the pattern was perfect, wasn't it?
And it's a great throw, a tough velocity throw on the deep sidelines. 1st and 10 now on the 31. San Francisco moving a little bit. The handoff to Cooper, and he's thrown for a loss. The Bears really came up on the running play. Osborne making first contact, along with Otis Wilson, the left linebacker.
And the other man that was instrumental in that was Gary Campbell, number 59. He came across the line of scrimmage and beat the block by Patton and forced to turn it inside to where there was a lot of pursuit.
And, John, when your offensive line is blocking pass most of the time, it's very hard to get them into a running syndrome. Isn't it very hard to come back now and suddenly start rushing the football?
Well, I don't know. You throw the pass set up to run.
Well, that's true. One of our old theories. All right, 2nd down and 12. Montana being chased out of the pocket by Wilson on the blitz. Sideline pass caught by Earl Cooper, number 49. Coombs in on the tackle along with Gary Fensick.
Well, the 49ers need a big game out of Earl Cooper, who did not have a real good beginning last week. He had a couple of fumbles and did not play a good game, according to Coach Bill Walsh. And if you look at the tapes, he didn't do too well. But he had a great season last year, and he's a good football player. You just got to get it together.
He better have a good game for his own hide. I understand Coach Bill Walsh is thinking about putting him on the road if he didn't play well. That's a pretty good threat. The good coach that used to be with Cincinnati, San Diego, Stanford, and now he's here in San Francisco. Third down and 10. Outside to Solomon, and it's going to be close on the measurement. Reuben Henderson made the tackle. Freddie Solomon's getting up slowly like maybe he just wants to measure. It's going to be awfully close. A turn-in pattern. He's got good speed, too, John.
Yes, he has. Did you notice how quickly Montana got that ball to him? Boy, zing, boom.
4th and a yard on the 22. And Matt Barr, the young man from Penn State who used to kick at Pittsburgh and was waived earlier and just picked up this week, will try it from the 29-yard line, a 39-yard field goal attempt. Montana holding. Strong enough. To the left. Pulled it left. A few boos, but a good strong kick. And Barr's only been in town long enough to get a good spaghetti dinner. No score in the first quarter, Chicago, San Francisco. Head coach Neil Armstrong on the right in the orange sweater, and Ted Marchibroda, the offensive strategist and the coordinator on his right. Remember, Vince Evans is supposed to be calling his own plays. Now Marjoram goes out. The young rookie was in. And Brian Baschnagel is back in on first down. Ricky Watts to the bottom, Baschnagel to the top of your screen. 1st and 10 on the 22 for Chicago. Handoff to Walter Payton running left. Good penetration by the safety man. And Payton runs out of room. Dan Bunz comes up, number 57. And Eric Wright came up and forced it very early, and so did Williamson.
Yeah, Carlton Williamson came across the line of scrimmage and jammed up the guard. You're going to watch him jam up Reevy Sorey there, the pulling guard, and Noah Jackson, which forced Payton to go deeper. And finally, it was Eric Reich who kept him inside, and Dan Bunz on the tackle. So the 49ers are aggressive on those end runs.
Walter Payton had, 162 yards rushing a year ago against this team, but so far not much. He picked up 4 yards. 2nd down and 6 on the 26. Handoff to Payton. Good penetration again. Payton cutting back, and now being rushed to the ground. Number 58, Tina Turner making the tackle.
And Archie Reese, number 78. He was like a sport coat for Noah Jackson, 65, the pulling guard. Reese came right across the line of scrimmage. You're going to see 65 right there, and there's Archie Reese right there just shoving everything back. And that was really broke the play as Payton tried to make something out of it here as everybody's dashing around there. But finally, Keena Turner makes the tackle, and there's some help by Dwayne Board. Gang tackling by the 49ers.
The 34 defense is only good if you attack from it, and that's what San Francisco did. All right, 3rd down. Last week, only good for 33%. That's what Evans was. 3rd down and almost 10 yards. Going left side, overthrows Baschnagel at the 40-yard line, and overthrew him by a mile. Wyatt Hicks was there, but Baschnagel was open.
Well, that's a couple of passes now that Vince Evans has thrown high, so he's got to bring, what do you call it when you set your sights, and he's got to bring his sights down.
He's got to get range, 0-0.
That's right. Okay.
Parsons will stand back on about the 9-yard line. Freddie Solomon is deep, along with Wyatt Hicks, who ran back some good punts last week against Detroit. Here's Parsons, a solid kicker. Oh, he gets it tremendously. Good hang time. This is Solomon at the 32, dancing and prancing. Back to the 30 and dropped there. Good play by number 25, covering the kick. I think that's Todd Bell, the rookie from Ohio State, making the tackle. A lot of good punting, a lot of throwing, and not many completions yet. No score in the first period. 49ers ball on their own 30-yard line. Darn near at second base here at Candlestick Park. Tom Brookshire with Johnny Morris. On a delightful day, but these two high-powered offenses haven't generated much. Montana, 4 of 7 for 43 yards. Here comes Solomon in motion. Handoff going the other way. That's Ricky Patton wearing O.J. Simpson's number and gets out to almost the 35-yard line. Otis Wilson making the tackle.
Ricky Patton, a Jackson State graduate. He is a cousin of Walter Payton, and when you give Ricky Patton some running room, he looks a little bit like Walter Payton. He's got that burst of speed.
He doesn't look like O.J. Simpson.
No.
Ricky has a little trouble fumbling the football. Last week he had a good rushing game, 72 yards on 15 against Detroit. And he has bounced around and found a home in San Francisco at the tailback spot. Second down, call it 6 on the 34. Man in motion is Solomon coming to the bottom of your screen. Montana back to throw. Swings the backs out, looks across the middle, fires Clark, gets away from the tackle. Almost to midfield, and of course a first down. Gary Fensick making the stop, but I can't see who he broke the tackle on. Maybe Gary Campbell.
No, it was Otis Wilson, 55. As you're going to see Clark go down the field, and you just turn in, and here comes Otis Wilson, I believe it is, for to attempt on the tackle. It looked like he was going for the gopher holes on that one. Otis got to keep his head up, but Otis will be around the ball before this day is over.
Clark is a tremendous under receiver. He did just that coming under the pattern. First down now on the 49-yard line. San Francisco still in their own territory. High formation handoff to Ricky Patton. Going outside, makes a bare miss it, and gets down to the 43.5-yard line. Couple of bad tackles. Bruce Herron making the stop finally.
That time they put a little finesse on Dan Hampton. He ran right by the ball carrier. The ball carrier was going one way and Hampton was coming the other way. They got around the horn, and that was why Patton was able to get a little bit of yardage. The San Francisco team, Joe Montana, is really taking over the leadership of the team, and a lot of it was when they traded DeBerg. DeBerg was a forceful type of quarterback, and he was kind of laying back. He was a second-string quarterback, and DeBerg, when they traded him, then Montana came to the fore.
Here it is on second short. Earl Cooper being run out of bounds. Just about the 45-yard line. Walterscheid making the quick move on defense. Cooper is big out of Rice. Last year their top draft choice. Had a tremendous year catching and rushing for total yardage of like 1,200, 1,300 yards, but he does not run like a fullback. He didn't cut it back and try to get the first down then.
As you take a look at the Bears defense, they're playing this game on a prescription grass. You know that, Tom?
Yes.
They can water it from underneath, and it's not supposed to wear out.
I thought you meant you went down to a drugstore on your doctor's orders or something. All right, third and short yardage. A tight wingback formation for San Francisco. Big pass, going on the outside. There's Freddie Solomon. Solomon now having to be cornered by Schmidt and gets down to the 30-yard line. Good-looking play.
It certainly was. Solomon was the only man down the field. And Terry Schmidt had to come over and make the tackle, but good action by the 49ers of Solomon. As you see him up there on the wing, goes into motion. Now watch the play action of the pass, and there is nobody to cover Solomon. He has 6 or 7 yards between he and Terry Schmidt before they can finally knock him out of bounds. Good play.
Solomon now has 6 catches for 69 yards. First and 10 on the 31. Montana with a deep drop this time. Going down the middle. It's caught by Ricky Patton. I don't see a flag. It looks like a touchdown. Montana with a deep drop, really loaded it up, and he just overthrew a couple of Bear defenders in that nickel defense. And Ricky Patton does look like O.J. suddenly.
And Ricky Patton gave the ball to one of his linemen, Randy Cross, to spike the ball. But notice Montana, as he'll go forward into the pocket, find the feel of it, and then throw it downfield. He got enough zip on it as his back, Patton, got all the way down the field. Gary Fensick just missed the swipe of the ball, and then Patton will give it to Randy Cross, who gets to spike it.
Matt Barr with Montana holding. It is good as gold, as they say out in San Francisco land. And so San Francisco gets on the board in their own stadium, the home opener. San Francisco 7, Chicago nothing. Ricky Patton with his big catch for the touchdown. Boy, what a touchdown.
And we may see key to the 49er offense. I'll talk about that in just a moment. Short kick.
Short kick by Barr. Williams at the 22 breaks out over the 40-yard line. Matt Barr did not get a deep kickoff, plus against the wind. Williamson makes the tackle, a defensive back covering. Good field position for the Bears. CBS Sports Saturday brings you great racing action. Pleasant Colony is expected to continue the quest for a Horse of the Year honors at the Marlboro Cup. You'll all see the World Individual Speedway Motorcycle Championship from London, England, 4:30 Central and 3:30 Pacific on CBS Sports Saturday. First down and 10 on the 40-yard line. Evans calling. Play action pass. Going across the middle. It's Robin Earl making the catch at the 44 and drags people down to the 36-yard line. Dwight Hicks was going for a ride.
Boy, was he wide open. Of course, anytime a Bear tight end gets downfield, he ought to be wide open because they never throw to the tight end. But watch this play as Evans off the play action pass. You'll see Robin Earl come across your screen. Everybody's too deep for him. No linebacker helping. Robin made a nice catch. That ball was behind him. He kept his eyes on the ball, turned up the field, and he's like a freight train. Once he gets going, boy, you better climb on. And finally, it took 2 or 3 49ers to bring him down.
A 24-yard gain, the first catch of 81 for Robin Earl, the 245-pounder, tight end. Evans calling, handoff to Walter Payton inside against that 34. Probably gets 3 or 4. The 34 defense, if your linebackers don't pursue well, it is absolutely useless. But if they can range and gang tackle, they can make it work against the rush.
Well, most teams have the philosophy that a team that uses a 3-4 against you, you run at it because you have 4 men who are basically off the line of scrimmage. The 3-4 is supposed to be good for chasing end runs, and they figure that Payton, will run more end runs than anything else, and that's why they're using it. Payton is now 5th. He needs 131 yards rushing to pass Jim Taylor on the all-time rushing list.
6 yards to go for a first down. The ball is on the 33. Handoff to Payton running left. Good play from behind by number 78, Archie Reach. And I believe Pillars got in on the play, too. Walter tried to wait for blocking that time. That really didn't develop.
That's right. And they came from behind to strip it behind the Bears' offensive guard. You're going to see this right here. As you're going to take a look at number 78 right there. Archie Reach, he came from behind the guards. And as Walter took his hesitation to find his hole, it just wasn't enough time to take that hesitation. And boom, they made the tackle.
Coach Armstrong knows that this third down call, Johnny Morris, is very important. You don't make this one, you don't make the playoffs. Third down and 6 on the 32. Straight drop back pass by Evans. He's being chased, he's being almost tackled and gets out of trouble and tries to lateral and does. And Neal, the center, ended up with the football.
And I'll say one thing, he didn't want it, but he got it. Actually, Dan Neal did a pretty good job there of hanging on to the ball because number 29, Saladin Martin, really hit him as Evans tried to scramble out of the pocket. They got an instant pass rush on him, and it looks like we might have some kind of a discussion here.
Well, if it's a lateral, you're okay. If it's a pass, it's going to be an illegal receiver, and I think they're going to rule it. Let's see.
It looked like it was parallel.
They're going to call it a lateral, which it appeared to look like from up here, but as you said, Neal does not want the ball. Parsons will be punting now. In a way, a good break, considering what could have happened to Evans had he gotten too silly with the ball. Hicks and Solomon are back for the punt. There's Parsons' kick, trying for the corner. Gets a bounce. Takes the roll. It goes right to home plate. San Francisco playing hard-nosed defense. Good-looking tackling. And we've been told their 3 rookies couldn't work in that secondary, but they are.
So far, and a lot of man-to-man coverage in that work, too, as you look at Bob Parsons off the field. Let's take a look at the last play where Evans had to hand that lateral off as Archie Reese, 78. He got by Noah Jackson, put the pressure on Evans, and Evans does a pretty good job here. He's lucky he didn't fumble the ball. That ball is really way out. And finally, he spots Neal and just shovels the ball over there. And it does appear to be a lateral, but watch out. Here came Mark. Dan Neal says, remember, I'm a lineman.
Straight ahead play from the 20-yard line. Earl Cooper, a 220-pounder out of Rice, hit by Coombs. 49ers really don't look like they run with enthusiasm. I mean, talk about rushing the football. They look like they are waiting for that signal from the sideline so they can throw it again.
I think you're right. Well, Bill Walsh, he's an advocate of the passing game all the way. He'll pass 80 times. He only does it runs once in a while to keep the game in perspective and keep everybody honest.
Benville Elliott in now, along with Cooper. The I formation setup. Solomon is flanked. Inside handoff. That's Cooper. For a couple.
Let me ask you, will Dan Neal get a carry? Does he get a carry? One carry?
Well, he's already gotten a bad thumb jammed on a line play, and to be given that ball like that hog bladder draws such a crowd, and they all had good shots at Evans, much less the center.
And in 1998, he can look back and carries per season. Dan Neal 1 minus 3.
Call your insurance man. Here we go. 7 yards to go. 3rd down and 7 for Montana and the 49ers. Solomon and Dwight Clark. Going for Clark. Oh, drops the ball. Reuben Henderson made sure. The quick slant-in pattern. That Henderson puts a shoulder in out of San Diego State, a rookie. Boy, Jim Fakes and company got a real good draft when they picked Reuben Henderson up to play secondary.
Yes, he did put a good hit on. However, Clark dropped this ball before the contact was made. The ball hit him right up there in the pads, kind of right there, and just came right out. And then Henderson did what he's supposed to do, and that's follow through on the hit.
Miller is back to kick, barefoot and all, and he gets it out. It's a low kick. Fisher's going to take it. There may be roughing a punter. The flag's back. Fisher's inside the 50 to about the 47-yard line, but the flag is down. Barefoot boy might have gotten rough. Automatic first down if that's the case.
Well, that's the way they're going to call it, because they did make contact with him after he punted the ball, and the rush had come right up the middle, so the players really didn't have an angle. As you know, the coaches tell you go across in front of the punter, but they were coming straight up the middle, and there were 3 or 4 of them, and they did make contact, so it should be San Francisco's ball, first down. As Bill Walsh says, I like that, I like that.
He's talking about the next offensive series.
Running into the kicker, number 84. First down on the defense, 84.
That's just a 5-yard penalty. It's not roughing the kicker.
Not flagrant, right? So it's first down, which is the automatic, but the yardage doesn't go up. But the 49ers keep the football. 34 seconds left here in the first period. San Francisco on top 7-0. First and 10, Montana back to pass. Dumps it over the middle to Ricky Patton, about the 20-yard line. Gary Campbell making the tackle. Make that Coons.
The Bears put the blitz on that time, and Montana picked it up and just dumped it to his back, hoping that he could break a tackle and make some yards. You know, that touchdown pass to Patton was interesting because the Bears were in a zone. They had their double the wideouts, and it's pretty tough if you can get a back that far down the field behind the secondary.
Somebody's got to hit that back coming through the line, and that's where he's trying to go. That'll be the end of the first quarter. The 49ers will have the wind and the football, and the Bears right now do not have any points on the scoreboard. San Francisco 7, Chicago nothing, and Montana and the 49ers think they can really rev it up. Joe Montana is now 8 of 12 for 103 yards in the first quarter. How many times they run the ball, John?
They ran the ball 7 times, so they passed 12 and ran 7.
Be careful about blitzing this young man, though. He reads very quickly, and he's got so many people coming out of the backfield, he can dump it on you. Second down, and 7 to go on the 31. Draw play, back to Ricky Patton. Patton out to the 35-yard line. A couple of scores that might be of interest. Look at this one. Atlanta 31, Green Bay 17, a final, and Joel Williams, a linebacker, runs one in, a 55-yard fumble against Bart Starr.
And the Packers were ahead 17-0 at one time. Here's New Orleans over Los Angeles, a real shocker, 23-17. Houston beat Cleveland 9-3.
Must have been the snowstorm.
And it was Kansas City beating the Buccaneers 19-10.
All right, third down and 2 on the 36, they call it. Montana from a straight right formation. Cooper's got a lot of room. He's knocked out of bounds at about the 44-yard line by Gary Pinson. And it was a desperate lunge that did it. 49 was down the sideline.
And I think Terry Schmidt may have a bad knee because he was blocked by Freddie Solomon. As you'll see, he comes out of the backfield wide open as the Bears were in the short yardage situation. There was a mistake in the defensive backfield. Now watch down the field. You're going to see Solomon block on Terry Schmidt, number 44, 88 on 44. And Schmidt goes down and came up limping badly, and he's being carried off the field as the San Francisco 49ers are driving. But more importantly for the Bears, Schmidt is out of the game as Jeff Fisher has come in, number 24.
A great tackle by Gary Pinson, a score-saving tackle, I might add, on a big fullback. Montana, First and 10 now on the 45. He dumps it outside. That's Cooper again. Cooper hits the drop finally by Coombs, the middle linebacker. I'll tell you, they send so many receivers out, you've got to have your prevent defense in most of the time.
Well, Walsh has the quarterbacks really geared. His quarterbacks, they know what they're doing. Everybody goes to a certain spot, and they throw to those backs and try and... I firmly believe if you throw to a back behind the line of scrimmage, it should be a run from scrimmage, not a pass play.
But that's not the way the rule reads.
That's not the way the rule reads, but it certainly should be that way because what he's trying to do is just make it an end run, get a back around the horn.
You're right. Nifty trick if you can get away with it. Second down and 6 to go. The ball right on the 40. Inside run this time by Cooper, who's hit hard by Waltersheim. It looks like he has the first down with a yard to spare.
Well, I think Earl Cooper is vindicating himself for the bad rap he got last week. Jim Osborne thought he had him. He ended up with a handful of dirt because they are now on the dirt skin, the infield part of the football field, which does affect your strategy a little bit because most of the players, I'm sure, are wearing the cleats, the ones I saw, that are more suited for the grass. And a cleat that's suited for the grass is not suited for the dirt.
That's right. First down rushing by San Francisco, but Montana is mixing it up, and they're driving here in the second period. First down and 10 on the 33. Inside handoff to Cooper. Down to the 30. Good tackle by Fenson. Hampton also came under. Turnovers. Maybe they decide the ultimate winner, and the Bears have got to start thinking about a way of getting the ball away from the 49ers.
There's Dan Hampton, 99, who has played a couple of plays at the defensive tackle spot. He wants to stay out there at that defensive end spot because he likes it out there where you can roam, especially when you're almost 6'7". You don't like to be in there at that defensive tackle spot where people can shot you.
Second down and 7, the ball on the 30. In Chicago territory. Double wing formation. Clock run out?
Yes.
They get their signals, Montana, the quarterback does, from the other quarterback that's on the side, which would be Guy Benjamin, who's standing next to Coach Walsh.
And as you notice, Montana looking for the signal. Now he has the authority to call audible or check it off, and sometimes they dummy the signals to confuse a defensive team or coaches who might be trying to steal the signals. They will go through a whole dummy thing already. When Montana already has a play in mind.
The Bears have gone to their nickel defense. They are trying to counter whatever Walsh might have called on second down and 12 to go on the 35.
And Schmidt is back in the game.
And they are gaining the line of scrimmage. Chicago's up. Now they drop back out of it. Montana under a rush, dumps it. The ball looked like it might have been deflected by Hampton somewhat. Trying to get the ball to Clark. Pretty good rush by Chicago that time.
Well, that's the whole secret of this game, right? If you put pressure on the quarterback, you're going to win.
Montana, a very cool customer. I'll never forget the Cotton Bowl victory when the Irish were out of it against the University of Houston. And somehow Montana and Notre Dame came back to win it. One of the darndest bowl games or college games I ever watched. Third down and long. Third and 12. Montana kept the back in this time for help. Dumps it over the middle. A fumble. The ball is a live ball. And Finsick has it at about the 12-yard line or 10. A quick catch and a fumble. Let's see who was it caught that.
Doug Plank is the man who recovered it in on the special backfield. Here's the play. Pretty good action. Now he had the ball. There's no question. Ricky Patton down the field. The ball comes squirting out, and the fumble was forced by... Who forced that fumble? I don't know, but there's Doug Plank. Grabs the ball, and finally it's Solomon who brings him down, but it's the Chicago Bears ball. I never did see who made that hit.
Well, it was Elliott that was carrying the ball, too. We didn't see it, but we should try to identify that person. The Bears get the turnover they're looking for. A fumble by Elliott, but they trail on the scoreboard 7-0 in the second period.
I can tell a real cowboy from the drugstore kind, clean across Texas. The way he wears his hat will tell you. And the beer that you drink's a surefire giveaway, too.
Trailing 7-0. Neil Lomax, the rookie, forced to start because of the injury to Jim Hart, pulls out for the St. Louis Cardinals against the Dallas Cowboys. Willard Harrell breaks deep behind Benny Barnes, and the Cardinals pull into a tie. But the Cowboys have struck again. They lead by 7. Back now to Tom Brookshire.
It might have been Todd Bell that caused that fumble. We couldn't get a read on it here watching the replay during that timeout, but it's a good one for the Bears. They trail 7-0. First and 10, the ball on the Bear 18-yard line. 12-yard line. High formation. Evans back to throw. Going outside. A real rifle for Ricky Watts, and it's broken up by Ronnie Lott, the #1 draft out of USC.
Well, the pass was there. As you take a look at Ricky Watts, a rookie, Ronnie Lott covering down and the turn in, and he actually dropped that ball. Ronnie Lott got his hand in there, but that's the kind that when it's in your stomach, you got to be able to hang on to the ball.
Evans is taking a little off of those throws now. That was a catchable pass. Evans is 1 for 4 now for 24 yards. Second down and 10 on the 12. Back to throw again. Checking it back out. Evans is going to run. Now he wants to throw. Now he's going to run with it. And it's knocked out of bounds by Ronnie Lott, a very physical young rookie quarterback.
Well, Evans was looking for Watts again, but he was covered. They had double coverage on him, so he took off here, and at least he's looking down the field for the pass. He was ready to throw it if he could find somebody open, then he takes off down the field and tries to put the little deke on Ronnie Lott, but Ronnie Lott's a pretty good athlete, too.
2 old SC grads meeting, huh?
Yes.
Third down, and call it 5 on the 17. Pickup by the very gifted Chicago quarterback. Masnagel and Marjorie to the left side. Ricky Watts at the top of the formation on third. Low left by Evans. Overthrows. Marjorie on the sideline. Mostly covered by Ronnie Lott. Looked like he might have tripped him up a little bit going for the ball, but the ball was a little high. There's Lott. Was a great All-American safety man. They said he can play corner, and if he can't, we know he can play safety, but let's try him at the toughest defensive spot in football, the corner.
Can you imagine playing defense in the NFL with 3 rookies in your backfield? It just seems, I haven't seen that before.
No, nobody has yet. Parsons is standing back, going to kick it from about the 8-yard line. A low kick, but a good hang time. Solomon waits on the 40-yard line. Solomon drags a body down to the 44-yard line. Todd Bell making the tackle for Chicago. A 43-yard punt return 14. And San Francisco has the ball in Chicago territory. 11:59 left. 49ers lead at 7-0. On 5 carries. Evans has 5 yards on his 1 carry, and Suri is a -2. But right now, San Francisco has the football and the lead. The ball on the 46-yard line of Chicago. First and 10. On 10 on a long count. Straight drop. Kept the backs in this time. Going deep. Going for Solomon on Schmidt. And Solomon. A great catch by Montana. And a great catch by Solomon on a super solid throw. A 46-yard touchdown strike.
It was just a straight up pattern, and Montana must have thrown that ball about 55 or 60 yards. He had plenty of time. Solomon man for man on Terry Schmidt down the sidelines, and the pass was perfect. Bent him a little bit to the outside. He only had a step on Schmidt, but it was a perfect pass. Oh, I'm telling you, right on the button.
That's the second touchdown catch for Solomon, and good blocking. They kept both backs in the block.
That's right. And Schmidt had been hurt. He hurt his leg a few plays ago, and they figured maybe he can't run the way he normally does, and the pass was right there. Not much that could be done about that. Schmidt was very close on the coverage. It was just perfect execution.
Matt Barr with Montana holding. It's good. It's now 14-0, and Joe Montana is now 12 of 17 for 193 yards and 2 touchdown passes. 49ers have come out red hot and going upstairs.
IBM.
Shot of that step that Solomon got on Terry Schmidt. Notice it was one-on-one coverage, first down pass. You're not going to get too much help over on the other side from the inside safety, so it was man for man, Terry Schmidt. So you've got to throw on first once in a while.
Perfect throw. Matt Barr to the 35. Williams back at the 4.5-yard line. Williams for Chicago gets a good block on the outside. Williams finally run out of bounds at the 33. Martin making the stop. And there's a 49er still on the field. That scoring drive, one play, first down throw, and you said it before, Johnny, we all have. There's nothing like a good first down pass. Of course, they pass on first, second, and third down.
Well, that's true, but when you throw on first, your chances of getting a man-for-man coverage in that kind of a pattern are increased considerably because it's a first down situation. Ricky Churchman was slightly hurt for San Francisco. He's off the field. He's okay. Number 33, I think a little bit shaken up there. Got his head knocked a little bit.
Ball is on the 33-yard line. The Bears now, we'll see if they're a good catch-up team on offense. Evans has Ricky Watts to the bottom. Baschnagel to the top, an I formation. Walter Payton has been quiet. Here's the toss to Walter Payton behind Suey's block. Cut back inside. He's hit hard. Hard at the 37-yard line. Pillars, the big defensive end in there.
They're getting great pursuit from the offside that time. As Walter turned up, there were people coming from the other side. Look at this. The Buffalo Bills lead Baltimore 35-3 in the fourth quarter, and Buffalo romped over the Jets last week. Here's San Diego 7-3 over Detroit in the second quarter. And it's Seattle 7, Denver 3, second quarter. And Dallas 14-7 over the St. Louis Cardinals.
We're here in the second period with 11 minutes on in the second period, and the Bears have not scored yet. Handoff to Suey off the right side. Gets close to the 40-yard line. Looks like the Bears are going to try to get the running game going now to cut off some of that pursuit that's happening. Harper making the tackle along with Archie Reese. Reese is playing super at the nose tackle right now.
Actually, the 49ers aren't doing that much fancy. They're playing their straight 3-4, not much in the way of blitzes. They're not that fancy on defense, and that's why one would figure that the Bears would be able to move the ball a lot better than this.
With three rookies in the secondary, you can't be too fancy. And once in a while, they will make a mistake. The Bears wonder when it's going to be. Third down, and 3 to go. Ball's on the 40. Walter Payton, sweeping left, cut back inside, and gets almost to midfield on tremendous just individual effort. Tackled there by Willie Harper, the Nebraska linebacker. Walter, who can do the squat press, about 600 pounds, and he does use his legs, doesn't he?
Yes, he does that with his little toe. He has 8,467 yards. He needs 131. He's probably less than that, as you see a gang of 49ers finally make the tackle. But he has started 80 straight games for the Bears, Walter Payton.
Marjoram is flanked out to the right. The rookie from Stanford. Ricky Watts is split to the left. High formation. First down call. Back to Walter Payton. Payton cuts inside. Oh, hit hard by Lott. Lott doesn't give anything, as Walter just does get into San Francisco territory.
Did you notice how quickly Payton jumped up after the ball? Neil Armstrong and some of the other coaches are trying to tell him to stay down and relax for a couple of seconds before he gets up, because sometimes he lets that ball go because it gets up so quickly, and that cost him on a fumble against Atlanta. As you see, Ricky Churchman over there getting some smelling salts.
The young Longhorn, the former Texas All-American, trying to figure out where he is. And we're in Candlestick Park. Second down and 7. Evans back to throw. Has the drop. Number 65 got his hand on it. Big defensive lineman Pillars. Well, they collapsed that pocket right around Vince Evans that time.
And they're not rushing all that many guys there to get back in there in that defensive backfield, the offensive backfield that quickly.
It's going to bring up a third down and 7. And it looked like San Francisco put in their pass rush unit.
Here we go. We'll take a look at that deflected pass as Pillars. He's number 65 to the right there. He just stuck his hand up there and batted away. Third down situation.
Payton and Williams. Three flankers outside. Slot to the bottom of the screen. Here's Evans going to the left side. Looking for Marjoram. And it just gets off the rookie's fingertips as Ronnie Lott was in hot pursuit. Marjoram's from Stanford. I would imagine a lot of his Stanford people are right here in the Bay Area.
Well, he needed about 50 tickets for this game because of all his friends, and he is going towards the sideline. Ronnie Lott makes a nice play. The ball was actually a little bit, I don't think he would have had possession inbounds even had he caught the ball, as Ronnie Lott, Eric Wright were both there, two of those rookies we're talking about. Neil Armstrong was concerned about the intensity of the team after what happened against Green Bay, and he still must have that concern.
Wright Hicks is back. Parsons is punting. This is going to be... Oh, Solomon comes over and takes it. Gets 3 or 4 and then is drilled. Good punting and good coverage.
Did you notice he caught that ball from the side? A dangerous way to catch a punt, but he held on. San Francisco has the ball. The 49ers still lead 14-0.
8:45 in the second period left. San Francisco has a 14-point lead. A great passing exhibition by the young man you're watching right there, Joe Montana. First and 10 now. Ball on the 18-yard line. Cooper, the fullback, goes in motion. Million formation. Montana right on it. It's Charlie Young. Charlie Young, 12-year veteran out of SC for a first down. Coombs made the tackle, the middle linebacker.
They took Mike Wilson straight down the field, and he carried Gary Fensick. You'll see Gary Fensick down deep trying to help on the coverage on the wide receiver, and he can't get back in time to help to knock the pass down to Charlie Young, and so a linebacker has to do it. And San Francisco has another first down.
And they show you a million different formations, and all of them end up with Montana throwing on the first and 10 now. Inside handoff to Earl Cooper. Doesn't get much and almost fumbled the ball. Osborne, Hampton there. Gary Campbell.
The key there was Osborne. He beat Fred Quillen. Just beat him and stuffed it up.
Second down and 9.
What did you say?
On the 33.
Excuse me, Tom. What did you say? Montana was 12 of 17. He's now 13 of 18, right?
For 199 yards, and they're not close to halftime yet. Ball's on the 33. Second down. Call it 9. Handoff. Ricky Patton sweeping left, being cut off there and dropped. There's a flag dropped at about the 45-yard line. Ricky Patton held up as Alan Page made the tackle, and pretty good force work on the far side there by Reuben Henderson.
Yes, and a super play by Otis Wilson.
Let's go to Brent Musburger now, back in New York for an update, the NFL report update.
At the U.S. Open, Bjorn Borg with a double set point in the opening set against the defending champion John McEnroe. McEnroe is long, and Borg has won the first set 6-4. Back to Tom Brookshire and Johnny Morris.
You're seeing Bob Frederick, the referee today, marking off the penalty against San Francisco. We'll get the call.
Offensive holding, number 86. Second down repeated.
Charlie Young, the tight end, holding a bear, and he was caught by my old pledge father in Colorado, Mr. Frederick, the referee. Can you believe that? Good friend of mine. There's Charlie Young.
Your what, pledge father? Did you
Pledge
say?
father, yeah, I did it all. Second down and 20. The ball on the 22-yard line. Montana goes. The ball is snapped back. Montana picked up by Hartenstein on the 4. The ball was snapped right past Montana. And Hartenstein comes up with it, and the Bears get a second big turnover of a fumble.
Let's take a look and see what happened there. As the man in motion, it just went right on through. Boy, what the heck
Montana
happened?
still can't find it.
Yeah, he didn't even know where it is, and Hartenstein was on his rush and alertly got on the ball and made sure that he had it, tried to get a couple of extra steps, took the leap, almost had him a touchdown.
Hartenstein can bench press 500 pounds, and it looked like the ball weighed 500 when he tried to pick it up. But a big turnover for the Bears, and this might ignite the offense somewhat. Get on the board and don't trail by 7. First down, first and goal. The ball is on the 3. Suey and Payton in the backfield. A handoff to Suey, gets one good block. Looked like Harper came in from the linebacking spot to make the tackle.
And Milt McCall was in on that tackle, number 53. He's the son of Bill McCall that used to play for the Bears back in the 50s, a fine tight end.
Now a doctor.
Yes, he's a doctor. He's one man that could do anything. He could fix high fives. He could do anything with his hands. He could play. He was a great bridge player. He was a doctor, good football player. You know, he's one of those people that
we despise, yeah? Now, McCall is a great guy, and his son made quite a tackle. Here it is now. Second goal from the 2. Walter Payton. Good block by Soy, but He's close. He makes the touchdown. Peyton went through and just put his head down and got it. Flory ran into the cornerback out there a lot and really got jarred. And Walter didn't need much room. Touchdown, Chicago.
Well, you knew when he got around the horn there a little bit that with the momentum that he had, that he was going to make the end zone. You'll see Matt Suhey, number 26, leading the way, the lead running back, and he gets everything kind of jammed up and helps out too. And Peyton just puts his shoulder down and bulls his way into the end zone. A lot of power. There he is, 202 pounds of romping, stomping dynamite. He can see, watch that dip, and his legs. See, his legs are still moving. Some players, when they make that contact, those legs don't keep driving.
Thomas out of Baschnagel's hole. It looks good, and the arms are up, and the Bears are back in the game. Thomas finds the mark, and Walter Payton finds the end zone. San Francisco 14, Chicago 7. 6 minutes left in the second period. All right, the Bears are on the board. Walter Payton's 72nd career touchdown. A short burst where he carried about 3 49ers. Thomas will kick off from the 35 against the wind with Lott and Mike Wilson back to take it. Ronnie Lott, number 42.
Now, they ought to be able to field that ball, let's say, somewhere around the 15-yard line if that wind isn't strong. Well, they went to the little squibbler.
Little squibbler being mishandled and finally down at the 21. Johnny Davis, a running back. He didn't realize he did have some time, but at least he didn't end up coughing the ball up.
Well, he wanted to get up, and Ronnie Lott says, no, you stay down. Let's just play it safe and make sure we got the ball. There's a score. New England, an early 3-0 lead over Philadelphia. And the Jets over Cincinnati, 14-0.
That's 2 touchdown passes, one to Barkham and one to Wesley Walker, who's flying again and must be healthy. First down play now for San Francisco, and Montana has been brilliant. The ball's on the 21. 6:19 left in the second period. Man in motion is Cooper, the fullback. Going across the middle. Looks like a good one at the 30-yard line. Dwight Clark with a diving catch. They're going to rule it a trap, and it's no good. Clark is 6'3", about 208 or 9 pounds. Runs a little pattern a little bit like Raymond Berry.
Yes, these are his best patterns. He caught 82 passes last year, but only 3 of them were for more than 30 yards. The ball did get loose, and it was a good call by the officials as Dan Hampton is now at the defensive tackle spot. Alan Page is in, Hartenstein, and Osborne.
2nd and 10. In the motion is Solomon. Inside rush. Not much at all. Pensick was right there.
I was talking to Dan yesterday about playing the defensive tackle spot, and he is, as I mentioned earlier, he just doesn't like the idea. He's doing it for the good of the team with some injuries that they've had. They're a little short of defensive linemen. But he's just worried about people hitting him from the side because he's in all that traffic, and he's not used to being tied up by a guard and having a center hit you on the side of the knee.
The offensive linemen come up and stare at your knees. That's part of their act, you know. 3rd down and 9. Solomon in motion, and Montana's back to throw. He's being rushed, hit hard, and the ball is knocked away by Reuben Henderson, and a flag is dropped.
Henderson grabbed his arm, I believe, and pulled it right before the ball got there, and they're going to call it on Henderson.
Alan Harris put the big rush on and knocked Montana down.
Well, we'll get a good look at the pass rush, a crisscross by the defensive tackles. Now here's Henderson at the left of your screen. He reaches with one hand and then bats the ball away with the other, and they're calling him for reaching. I think it's a good call.
It was a very close call. If there was even negligible contact, I couldn't see it. A good play by the rookie, but it's going to be a first down for San Francisco. 1st and 10 on the 23.
Of course, if you were officiating, you'd call that a legal play all day, wouldn't you?
I don't know how they play defense anymore. Easily a rookie fullback. Ricky Patton with the ball. Cut back. Gets to the 27. Hartenstein making the stop. You realize that last year there were 31 300-yard passing days in the NFC, and in 77 there were none. The rules have really put the ball in the air.
I think that's probably the classic statistic to tell the story as you look at Bill Walsh.
Bears are thinking pass. They've got Harris still in there for the pass rush, and Hartenstein's moved to lefty, fits it in on 2nd down and 6 on the 27. The reverse to Solomon, cut off by Osborne. Good defensive play by the left tackle.
Alan Page and Osborne both in on that tackle. They tried to fool him that time. The Bears were waiting for it.
You run away from Alan Page, he'll eat you up. You run right at him, and sometimes he's on roller skates. There's Armstrong still keeping it up. And some of the quiet coaches are the ones that get the team higher, so you don't have to be a shouter to be a good head football coach. The players are the ones that have to play and hit.
Who was the biggest shouting coach you ever ran with?
Usually the other coach on the other team with me. Here it is on 3rd down now. Being rushed and dropped by Alan Page and almost intercepted in the far flat. Todd Bell got his hands on it. And I believe Fencing got close to it too.
Well, that was a risky one as Montana tried to get out of the pocket. Page with the crisscross. See Page at the left of your screen, 82, coming around, gets blocked, maintains the pressure, gets his hands on him. Montana still tries to throw it out to Solomon. And I'm telling you, it was deflected. And then there is Solomon leaping, and you're going to see Walter Scheid and Todd Bell, who is all over the place. 25.
Here's the punt by Miller. It's end over end at the 40. Still running and finally caught just short of San Francisco territory. Jeff Fisher, he took it on the run. And Miller not having a very good kicking year so far. A 37-yarder. First one was a 37-yarder, but absolutely no hang time at all.
Excellent field position now for the Bears. They're at midfield with a chance to get right back in this ball game.
14-7. A fumble recovery by Hartenstein and a Walter Payton 2-yard shot. 1st and 10 on the 49. Evans back to throw out of play action. Going across the middle. Marjoram, the rookie from Stanford, making the catch. And even this crowd is applauding the Chicago Bears.
He put a nice move on Ronnie Lott. Play action pass, 1st down, wide open, man for man. You can see Marjoram shoot right across at the top right of your screen. He's got the inside position on Ronnie Lott and makes the 1st down Chicago.
He's a lot quicker than he looks, too. Marjoram can run pretty well. He's got great hands. He's flanked at the top of the screen. 1st down on the 33. Straight drop back by Evans. Going outside. And he comes up with the ball and jogs back to the 100. Really hit by Eric Wright, the Missouri rookie.
But Payton was up so fast you didn't think it even phased him. I'm not sure it did. He is so strong, and so it comes right into your screen. He's got to go for the ball. You try not to expose Walter Payton to something like that, but if you do, it's okay.
He might have come up.
He's up and ready to go again.
San Francisco's lucky he didn't come down on his feet. 2:49 left before half.
That's right. He might have come down in the end zone.
2nd and 7. 49ers look like they might be gambling a little bit. Wide open. Big leg by Evans. The flag is down, and Evans is collared at the 25-yard line. Willie Harper got him by the throat, and the flag is dropped. What would be illegal procedure? Somebody moved?
I think there was something wrong with that play. I'm not sure where. It looked too wide open, didn't it?
Somebody might have moved, but Evans came out running. He scored 8 touchdowns rushing a year ago in only 10 games as the quarterback, but he's a good athlete.
I think the thing he needed was that completion to Marjoram because of the fact that he has been off target in the early part of this ball game. He's been a little high, been a little off, and he completed a nice pass to Marjoram, and that always helps a quarterback to get a good one under your belt. Did you catch that call?
Illegal procedure. It will be 2nd down and 12 now. The ball on the 35. The Bears need to keep this drive going. Marjoram and Ricky Watts. Watts at the top. Evans is back. He's looking toward Ricky Watts. He's going for him down the middle. Has him. Watts makes the catch at the 20. Hit hard by Hicks. A real good pass and catch by Watts.
An excellent pass protection for Evans. He had to take a little time to wait for Watts to get open because he has to get by one man there. That's Ronnie Lott putting the jam on. He can't hit him after that. And he's down the field, and then he'll make a little move to the inside and just turn, and Evans fired the ball right in there, and then he sustained the hit, and it's a 1st down for Chicago.
Good throw by Vince Evans. 2 minutes left. May not get this play off. There's a 2-minute warning. Bears are driving. San Francisco scored. Bang, bang. The Bears came back on a Peyton plunge to make it 14-7, and now Vince Evans has them moving. Boy, that was some good pass. 2 minutes before halftime at Candlestick Park. The Bears are moving, but San Francisco won't give away. 14-7. 49ers lead.
Bears gives to the United Way because United Way supports the Salvation Army.
This is a scene of the Salvation Army we're all familiar with. But today, the Salvation Army is doing much, much more. Come on, I'll show you some of it. Here at the Salvation Army, there's a place for kids to get in off the streets. A place where they can learn about the dangers of drugs or alcohol. Here they can get a good start in life, a fresh start. The Salvation Army has been strengthening families and building better, stronger communities for over 100 years. Today's Salvation Army is working to hold the family together. Through family counseling, they serve all members of the family. The Salvation Army, helping people for over 100 years. All kinds of people, all year long. And thanks to them, thanks to you, it works for all of us, the United Way.
The preceding message was furnished by the National Football League. 2 minutes before halftime. First quarter and part of the second, all San Francisco. The Bears got that Hartenstein fumble on a crazy snap. Montana never saw the ball, and Hartenstein did, and then Peyton scored, and now after taking the punt, Jeff Fisher had a good run back of a low Miller kick, and suddenly the Bears are back in business. First and 10 now on the 20-yard line, going in. Marjoram is right to the left. Ricky Watts is to the top of your screen. Now Marjoram's in motion. Strong formation right. Weak side pitch to Walter Payton. Slipped right under the linebacker. Slipped under Jack Reynolds. He thought he was going to make a tackle and picked up yardage anyway.
That was an interesting play because Reynolds, 64, thought he had him right dead to rights, and all of a sudden he had slipped under him and gotten 2 or 3 extra yards. That should have been a 2nd and 10 situation, but it's 2nd and 7 just because Walter was able to squirm under.
Hacksaw Reynolds is having to learn the 3-4 defense. He played the 43 middle for L.A. for 12 years. 2nd down and 6 on the 18. Early contact. Looked like Robin Earl might have jumped. The Chicago tight end.
Well, he's been playing most of the game in place of Robert Fisher, mainly because of his blocking ability, and you could see he was coming across to make a block. I think that was going to be an end run to the right with Peyton.
Encroachment offense, number 81.
10 penalty flags the Bears had in their loss to Green Bay, but this is the kind of penalty when you're driving for a touchdown you cannot afford.
Well, it changes the whole nature. You have a 2nd and 12 now,
2nd down,
which puts you into an obvious passing situation. The 49ers certainly haven't done much when they've had the Bears in the hole as far as blitzing or fancy defenses, mainly because they've been doing pretty well with what they've got so far.
Okay, 2nd down and 13. The ball's on the 23 now. It's a throwing situation. Here's the handoff to Walter Payton. He's got both guards out. Payton slips and falls and gets to the 20-yard line. Ronnie Lott playing the corner. Boy, the way coaches dream about and write books about. The young cornerback came up and set up on the outside and turned the play back in. Buns finally making the tackle.
The clock is still running with 59 seconds. They have opted not to stop the clock. But, you know, I don't think Peyton cuts back quite as well on the regular surface as he does on Soldier Field.
Could be. Good point. He slipped down that time. No timeouts called. 45 seconds in the first half. The Bears still have 3 timeouts. Back to throw. There's a flag down. Evans going for Ricky Watts. And almost intercepted by number 58. That was Keena Turner almost intercepting the ball thrown by Evans heading for Watts. The flag is down, though, John.
Well, the penalty is going to be against Chicago as we take a look as Keena Turner dropping way off in his linebacker position. Almost made a wide receiver type of a reception. Here it is again. There's Watts. Double coverage with the linebacker way downfield.
Watts almost made the catch on the rebound.
We're going to have a field goal attempt, I would imagine, here.
By Thomas, who has had the sore leg, and I was watching him kick 35-yarders in practice, and he looked fairly strong at it. Faschenagel will hold at the 27, so we're talking about a 37-yard field goal, which is right at Thomas's limit. It's good. It's true. He didn't force the kick, and he kicked it true, and he really laid back and didn't hit that one too hard. So the Bears get points out of it with 32 seconds left in the first half, with 10 points in the second quarter. 51,000 here in a stadium that will hold 61,000, so there are 8,000 or 9,000 seats that are not filled. But if San Francisco under Walsh begins to win a few games, they'll pack this baby up.
This is a very important game for both teams, but in the NFC Central Division, as you look at the kickoff team huddling together and Neil Armstrong talking with them, he's saying, let's not make a mistake. I'm not sure that they would even, will they kick it downfield 32 seconds? No, they would probably have to kick it down the field, some kind of a squib kick, rather than something real short, because if the 49ers got one first down, they could get a field goal. So they've got to be a little bit leery.
Coming up at halftime, don't forget, Brent, Phyllis, and Irv Cross with the highlights of all the NFL games played today, live from the CBS Sports Desk in Gotham City, New York.
Well, the point I was trying to make there was that you don't want to kick it all the way downfield and give them a free shot for an 80-yard kickoff return, but you don't want to kick it onside, because then they can get one first down and maybe kick a field goal. So you've got to give them that kind of a swiveler that gets beyond the front line of the 49ers.
So Thomas doesn't kick it real deep at best, so you're right. He may just hit a 9-iron or a wedge shot in there about the 25-yard line. It'll be hard to handle. The breeze has blown the ball off the tee. Kickers are just different, you know that. They always were.
Thomas is pretty close to normal.
Here's the kick.
He went downfield with it.
Ball's going to go back into the end zone. Lott comes out with it. The rookie's going to run it out. He makes the corner at the 15. Now he's really jammed and hit. As Brian Cabral, the Colorado linebacker, really put a knock on the coverage for the Chicago Bears. 23 seconds left on the clock.
Who called? Who called?
The kickoff return almost wound down the second half clock. Here comes Yossi Cabral coming with the hit coming right here. Here comes number 54. Oh, boy, helmet to helmet. It's a good thing he had a mask on, face guard, or he'd be walking around with a real big smile, no teeth.
That Lott is a tough young man. 1st and 10 now. Lead 14-10 San Francisco. Montana now going for the rushing game. Ricky Patton.
Look at this.
Gets out clean. Stepped out of bounds as Gary Fensick was there. And boy, Ricky Patton got to the corner rather easily. Bears must have been looking for a pass play by Montana.
Well, they now have a chance to, with not one nice long completion, they could have a field goal attempt. There are 17 seconds left on the clock, and they're out of the bad field position at their 28-yard line.
Patton now has 34 yards on 6 carries, and of course has that big catch for the first touchdown for Montana.
You have to remember, San Francisco is an offensive-minded team.
Ball's on the 28, 1st and 10. Handoff to Ricky Patton, sweeping left. And having done success out to the 25-yard line, 35-yard line, 8 seconds left. Now the timeout is burned. Doug Plank made the tackle. Solomon, a little slow getting up over there. The splendid receiver who tried to make a block for Ricky Patton. Armstrong on the Chicago side. There's Buddy Ryan in the orange sweater on the left.
And he's been with some pretty good defensive teams. He was a defensive coach with the Jets when they had that great Super Bowl victory against Baltimore Colts. That was what, the '69 Super Bowl?
Yeah. What do you figure about 62 different defensive fronts he can throw?
He claims 63.
63.
That's a lot of variety.
The last one is just a basic 4-3, which he doesn't run very much.
That's right. He also was with Minnesota, as you said, with Bud Grant for many years. So he's been in a lot of Super Bowls.
Yeah, boy, that's big game time. No doubt about that. Now, Otis Wilson is going out. Osborne's going out. Todd Bell is going out.
Al Harris is going out. Who's coming in? As Bruce Herron's in there. There's Mike Singletary, number 50, has come in.
Solomon, Mike Wilson in for San Francisco. He must be thinking pass of some kind, huh?
Wouldn't that be something if the 49ers quarterback sneaked it and messed the whole Bear defense up? There's Bill Walsh.
And Neil Armstrong. Used to be an Eagle, you know. He was a great hurdler in college at Oklahoma A&M. Good pass receiver, and he's really an excellent, solid citizen and a great coach. Second down and 3 on the 35. Not much time left. 7 seconds. 6. It's dumped by Montana. And just missed by Ricky Patton. Good play by Singletary, who just about got his hand on that ball, the rookie from Baylor.
That's right, and it's a good thing he did get his hand in there because Patton was in full swing and would have gotten deep into Bear territory because he was on the go, on the move, straight downfield, running at 6 o'clock, which means straight ahead.
Now Singletary plays the run extremely well, but the intricacies of the pass offense is the reason perhaps he's not playing, but now he's in the passing situation, huh?
Well, they got everybody in now for the passing situation. The backs and linebackers, just three rushmen.
Third down with 4 seconds left. The draw play. Here comes Cooper, number 49, breaks out. Gets to the 42-yard line. That'll be the last play of the first half. And a good-looking offensive display by the San Francisco 49ers. But the Bears are back in business. San Francisco 14, the Chicago Bears 10, but the Bears outplayed the 49ers in that second quarter.